Ladies and gentlemen, there is something incredibly beautiful about a cracked vase. It lets the light in. We live in a world that teaches us to chase perfection, perfect skin, perfect scores, perfect lives. But let me ask you, have you ever seen a sunrise that's the same every morning, or a tree with symmetrical branches? No. And yet we find them breathtaking. So why do we demand perfection from ourselves when the universe thrives on imperfection? From the very beginning of our lives, we are immersed in a world that thrives on diversity, asymmetry, and unpredictability. Nature does not strive for perfection in the way humans often do. A tree may grow crooked, yet it provides shade and bears fruit. Rivers carve their paths not in straight lines, but through curves and bends, creating valleys and nourishing the land. The stars are scattered unevenly across the sky, and yet we look up in awe. These examples remind us that beauty is not defined by flawlessness, but by authenticity, uniqueness, and character. Still, as we grow, society introduces us to standards that praise only one kind of beauty, one kind of success, one kind of acceptable life. We are taught to hide what makes us different, to fix what doesn't align with societal norms, and to fear imperfection as if it is something shameful. But imperfection is not a flaw in design. It is the essence of being human. It is what makes us real, relatable, and resilient. In a world full of filters, editing tools, and curated lives, being real is an act of quiet rebellion. Imperfection means you are alive, experiencing, evolving. It means you are not a product, but a person. You are a living, breathing story, still being written, still unfolding. There is a certain charm in things that are not polished. A handmade object, for example, carries the subtle signature of its maker, the tiny misalignments, the uneven brush strokes, the small, unintended deviations. These are not mistakes. They are what make the piece irreplaceable. In the same way, our own lives carry these small but significant marks. The hardships we've faced, the lessons we've learned, the moments of doubt, the phases of healing. They all contribute to the person we are becoming. No two people share the same path, and no path is free of imperfections. True beauty lies in the raw, the honest, the vulnerable. It is in the laugh that isn't perfectly timed, the tear that falls unexpectedly, the voice that cracks while speaking the truth. It is in the courage to show up as we are, without pretense. When we stop chasing perfection, we start discovering joy in the little things. The way someone's eyes light up when they speak passionately, the way a child draws outside the lines, the way we sometimes stumble through our own words trying to say what we feel. All of it is real, all of it is beautiful. When we embrace imperfection, we also embrace growth. We allow ourselves the grace to evolve, to change direction, to fail and try again. We begin to understand that the things we once saw as flaws are actually parts of our strength. They are reminders that we've endured, adapted, and continued. We start to see that the cracks in our lives are not empty. They are filled with lessons, with meaning, and with the quiet light of resilience, shining through scars, are often viewed as something to be hidden. Marks that suggest damage, pain, or imperfection. But what if we started to see them differently? What if we recognized them as symbols of survival, as stories our bodies and hearts carry with them through time? Every scar, whether physical or emotional, holds a memory, a lesson, a moment when we were tested and chose to continue forward. These marks do not diminish our worth, they deepen it. They speak not of weakness, but of strength, of endurance, of the human ability to rise again after being broken. When a bone breaks and heals, it often becomes stronger at the sight of the fracture. Similarly, when we go through pain, heartbreak, failure, trauma, loss, we don't just return to who we were before. We emerge changed. We carry forward a new kind of wisdom, empathy, and resilience. It may not be visible to the world, but it shapes how we love, how we care, how we lead our lives. The pain doesn't vanish, it transforms into power. The scars left behind are the proof that we faced something difficult and survived it. They are the evidence of our journey, not signs of defeat. Many people try to hide their scars out of fear of being judged, misunderstood, or seen as weak. But vulnerability is not weakness. It is courage in its purest form. To show up in the world with your story, your truth, your visible and invisible scars is one of the bravest things a person can do. It tells others, I've been through something and I'm still standing. It invites connection and understanding. It reminds us that none of us are alone in our struggles. There is an incredible strength in embracing our pain rather than denying it. When we allow ourselves to acknowledge what we've been through, we stop pretending to be unbreakable. Instead, we become unshakable. We start to trust in our own capacity to heal, to move forward, to rebuild ourselves one piece at a time. We begin to find beauty in the parts of ourselves we once thought made us unlovable. We realize that our scars do not need to be erased to be accepted. They are part of who we are. In many cultures, warriors return from battle with their wounds as badges of honor. They don't apologize for the marks they carry, they wear them as symbols of courage and survival. In much the same way, we each carry personal battles within us. And though the world may not always see them, they are there. In the way we love harder after being hurt, in the way we protect others after knowing what it's like to feel unprotected, in the way we speak softly because we've once been silenced. These are quiet, powerful testaments to the strength that lives inside us, forged not in moments of ease, but in the fires of difficulty, and the long path back to ourselves. Strength is often misunderstood as the absence of struggle, as being untouchable, constantly composed, and always in control. But true strength is far more subtle, far more human. It does not lie in never falling. It lies in rising after the fall. It is not about being invincible, but about being willing to begin again, even when every part of you is tired, even when the world has knocked you down more times than you can count. It's about choosing to get up, even when the reasons to stay down feel louder than the will to move forward. There are moments in life that break us open, moments when loss, failure, rejection, or betrayal crush what we believed was stable. In those moments, we feel like we've been shattered beyond repair, but slowly, quietly, without fanfare, we begin to rebuild. We start with small decisions, a breath taken, a step forward, a tear wiped away. Each act of continuing becomes an act of strength. It may not look impressive from the outside, but within it holds the weight of 1,000 battles being fought silently. Rising after falling requires a kind of courage that isn't loud. It's the kind of courage that whispers in the dark, telling us to try again, to believe again, to trust the process even when we don't see the destination. This kind of strength doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from showing up again and again when everything feels uncertain. It's the determination to keep walking with wounds still healing, to face each day with trembling hands but a hopeful heart. There's also a beautiful humility that comes with falling. It teaches us that we are not above pain, that we are not immune to the struggles of life. It grounds us. It opens our hearts to others who fall too. When we rise after our own fall, we become more compassionate. We begin to see the strength in others, not by how perfect their lives appear, but by how bravely they've risen from what tried to destroy them. We start to understand that everyone is carrying something, and that rising is not a single moment. It's a series of choices made again and again, often in silence, often in solitude. What makes rising so powerful is that it changes the way we see ourselves. After we've gotten up from a fall, we know something we didn't know before. We are capable. We are more resilient than we thought. We realize that even at our lowest, We have within us a will that refuses to surrender completely. That will, that quiet defiance in the face of hardship, is the essence of inner strength. It doesn't need validation, applause, or perfection. It grows stronger each time we say yes to trying again, no matter how many times we've fallen before. Every person carries a story that stretches beyond what the eye can see. Within each of us are moments we've lived through that have shaped the way we think, feel, and respond to the world. Some of those moments are filled with joy and triumph, while others are marked by pain, confusion, and uncertainty. To embrace your story means to accept all of it, not just the highlights, not only the polished versions, but also the chapters you once tried to hide, the ones that made you question your worth or doubt your path. The messy parts are not blemishes on your journey. They are the very things that make it real, layered, and meaningful. There is power in owning your story. When you stop running from the past and start looking at it with compassion, you begin to understand yourself in a deeper way. You realize that every challenge taught you something about resilience, that every failure revealed something about courage, and that every painful experience helped you see the world with more empathy. The parts of your story you once saw as weaknesses begin to transform into sources of strength. Instead of defining you, they start to inform you. They help you connect more authentically with others and allow you to stand firmly in who you are. We often feel the pressure to curate our lives into something presentable, to present ourselves as composed, successful, and certain. But real growth does not happen in perfection. It happens in the spaces where we felt lost and had to find our own way back. It happens when we stumble, fall, and discover that we can still move forward even with bruises. The messy parts of life are where transformation begins. They are the moments that break us open so that something new can grow. They test our faith, our patience, and our self-belief. But they also reveal our ability to endure, to adapt, and to rise stronger than before. Embracing your story also means taking responsibility for your healing. It means choosing to acknowledge the hurt, not to dwell in it, but to give it space, to allow it to be seen and felt. When we honor our full experience, we stop pretending to be someone else. We stop trying to fit into boxes that were never made for us. We start to live in alignment with our truth. This authenticity frees us. It removes the weight of comparison and shame. It invites us to live a life that is more honest, more grounded, and more compassionate, both toward ourselves and others. When we accept our story with all its beauty and brokenness, we give others permission to do the same. We become living proof that imperfection is not something to be erased, but something to be embraced. We begin to understand that our value is not in how untouched our journey has been, but in how deeply we have lived through it, how openly we share it, and how bravely we continue to write the next chapter with all that we've learned along the way in a world constantly chasing ideals. Authenticity has become one of the rarest and most powerful qualities a person can possess. We are surrounded by images, stories, and expectations that push us to polish our personalities, edit our lives, and filter our emotions to fit into someone else's version of what is acceptable or admirable. But there is something deeply magnetic about someone who dares to show up as they are flawed, evolving, honest. Authenticity is not about being loud or dramatic. It is about being real. It is about standing in your truth without shrinking yourself or exaggerating to fit in. There is incredible strength in choosing to be yourself when the world is constantly asking you to be someone else. It takes courage to speak your mind, especially when your voice shakes. It takes bravery to walk your own path when others expect you to follow theirs. Being authentic means allowing yourself to be seen, not just the parts you're proud of, but also the parts that are uncertain, afraid, or in progress. It means honoring your feelings, values, and boundaries, even when doing so makes you stand out or feel alone. Authenticity is more powerful than perfection because perfection is an illusion. It is a moving target, always defined by external standards that change with time, trends, and opinions. Trying to live up to those standards is exhausting and unfulfilling. Authenticity, on the other hand, is grounded in truth. It does not need approval to feel valid. It allows you to live from the inside out rather than constantly adjusting yourself to meet what's expected from the outside in. It creates a foundation of integrity, one where your words, actions, and intentions are aligned. When you live authentically, you attract relationships and opportunities that resonate with who you truly are. You stop performing and start connecting. People feel drawn to those who are genuine because it makes them feel safe to be themselves, too. In a society full of roles and masks, someone who is unapologetically real becomes a reminder of what it means to live fully. They become a mirror in which others can see their own suppressed truths and long, forgotten dreams. Living authentically also fosters deep inner peace. It allows you to look in the mirror and recognize the person staring back. You are no longer caught in the trap of constant comparison because your focus shifts from proving yourself to expressing yourself. Instead of chasing validation, you begin to value self-respect. Instead of fearing rejection, you start trusting that what is meant for you will not require you to betray your own essence. Your energy, once spent on pretending, becomes available for creating, for healing, for growing into the person you are always meant to be. To be authentic is not to be perfect. It is to be present. Present with your feelings, present with your choices, and present in your relationships. It means being able to say no when something doesn't feel right, and yes when it aligns with your truth. It means letting go of the need to impress and embracing the desire to connect, to be understood not for who you pretend to be, but for who you genuinely are underneath all the layers from the time we are young. We are fed the idea that we must become something more in order to be enough. We are told to strive harder, look better, achieve more, fix ourselves, and constantly seek validation from outside sources. The underlying message is clear. As we are right now, we are incomplete. But the truth is far simpler and far more liberating. You are enough, exactly as you are. Not when you lose the weight, not when you get the promotion, not when you're finally in a perfect relationship or living your ideal life. Right now, in your current form, with all your doubts, dreams, flaws, and strengths, you are worthy. The idea that we have to earn our worth keeps us trapped in cycles of comparison and self-criticism. We measure ourselves against filtered images, curated lifestyles, and impossible standards, forgetting that those versions of others are often as carefully crafted as our own insecurities. We internalize this pressure and begin to believe that being ourselves is not good enough. But being enough isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about recognizing that your value does not fluctuate based on someone else's opinion of you or your ability to meet a temporary goal. Your worth is not conditional. It is constant. Being enough means allowing yourself to take up space without apology. It means recognizing that your thoughts, your presence, your story, and your voice matter. It's in the way you continue to care even when your heart has been broken. It's in the way you show up for others despite feeling unseen. It's in the quiet resilience that keeps you going through hard days, and in the small victories you don't always acknowledge. These things are not insignificant. They are evidence of your inner strength and your humanity. You don't need to become someone else to deserve love, respect, or peace. The idea of becoming better should come from a place of growth, not from a place of lack. You can grow because you love yourself, not because you believe you are not good enough. Growth fueled by self. Worth is empowering. Growth driven by self-right. rejection is exhausting. The more you begin to accept yourself, the more you start to see the beauty in others too. You become more compassionate, more open, more forgiving, because when you believe that you are enough, you stop needing others to be perfect in order to feel safe or accepted. You being enough is not a finish line to reach. It is a truth to remember. Even in your lowest moments, even when you feel like a mess, even when everything around you seems uncertain, your worth remains intact. You do not have to prove it or fight for it. You only have to believe in it and live from it. This belief does not make life easier, but it makes it more honest. It allows you to make choices not from fear, but from self-trust. It allows you to rest without guilt and love without hesitation. It frees you from the endless chase of becoming and lets you return to the peace of simply being.